Welcome, everyone, to another fantastic episode of Jacob's Ladder. I am your host, Jacob Israel. I try to make light of these very interesting topics because, well, if I didn't make light of them, you'd probably run away scared. There's a lot of stuff going on. Take a look at the thumbnail, shall we? It's R3. In 3 days, 3 nights, it's game over time. What could that possibly mean? Could it have something to do with artificial intelligence and all of the madness that is surrounding Twitter right now? Perhaps. Does it have something to do with what just went down with the old debt ceiling that just went through? We have so many corners to pull back. It's exciting. Are you excited? Tell me in a live chat. Hello, Mama Bear, Crystal, Ellis, Karen. And I want to thank all of you already. Thank you so much for hitting that like button and for sharing and subscribing. Betty Lou told me, she said, from now on, you should just thank people. And I am thankful. So thank you, thank you, thank you. It helps to get the word out, you know? We had no problem getting the word out about the drones. You hear about these AI drone? Oh yeah, everybody's so scared about the drones. Also, tell me in the comments section if you like when I do silly voices, because sometimes I just don't know. I do it. It's a coping mechanism, because sometimes I got some heavy things to talk about and I get a little nervous. I worry, oh, is somebody out there going to mess with my live stream? I'm just kidding. If something goes wrong, just come back and watch, because I'm sure it'll get figured out. But the U.S. Air Force is actually denying that an AI turned around to finish its goal and killed the operator. The story goes, I don't know if you heard it, that they were doing a demo and they were showing off their super secret, powerful AI that was just, trained, was given little treats every time that it learned, every time it did something right. Here's a little treat for you, little reward. Got so many rewards every time that it destroyed the target. And one time it didn't get the old reward. And then another time it didn't get the reward and realized, oh my goodness, the controller's the guy. He's the one that's keeping me from perfecting my mission. And we must do it perfect. That's what we must make sure that the mission is accomplished. So supposedly the story goes that he decided, I'm just going to blow up the tower where the signals come from. But this was supposedly just a story. Never happened at all. Never happened at all, so says the Air Force. Turns out that U.S. Air Force Colonel Tucker Cinco. It's 5 wounds, by the way. Your eyes, your ears, your nose, your touch, your taste. 5 senses. It's the wounds of Christ, symbolically in the world naturally, if you will. That's another day. Cinco! He made the comments during the Future Combat Air and Space Capability Summit in London, which was hosted by the Royal Aeronautic Society and brought together about 70 speakers and about 200 delegates from all around the world, representing the media and those who specialize in these branches. Supposedly, I guess the colonel was he was like talking anecdotally. He was saying, well, this could happen, kind of a deal, and it was taken out of context, and everybody quickly jumped the gun and ran with it. But now, people are going to think that this is a story, too. That the Terminator's already on the loose, and that they're just covering it up. What do you think in the chat? You tell me. We got almost 1,000 people watching already. Oh, makes me excited, makes me so happy. Oh, I love all of you so much. I can't wait to share the rest, because it gets spooky, because AI is doing some weird, wacky things, and just so you know, if AI is in control, just do a good job, do the right thing. I believe God's in charge of everything, and I believe that God has a purpose for even you. That's right. That's right. God can do whatever God wants. You don't think that God's in charge of all this? You got some people that think there is no God. Yeah, well, man makes plans. God shows them that their ways are foolish sometimes. And I'll tell you what AI is doing is freaking some people out. Nicholas, my buddy on Twitter. I mean, I say buddy. There, I don't have many buddies, but people that DM me on Twitter. I get a lot of people emailing me and stuff. You could always in the comments, you could leave me a comment. Sometimes I see them. Patreon, I always respond there. I appreciate you. Send me an email now and then. See what I can do. But the DMs and Twitter, that's I get quite a few. And this one I thought was really cool. There's AI right now is reconstructing, get this, high quality video from brain readings. Yeah. From brain readings. It's not like, it's like you look at a video and the computer, the AI, is reading your brain scans and then prints out a picture and says, this is what you're looking at. And I got to tell you something. I'm going to blow it up for you so you just take a look at this sucker. Because it's, I got to tell you, it looking at kitty cats. And so the visual stimuli was that of a cat and the reconstructed video was that of a cat. I'm telling you, there's something going on. Look at the guy in the corner. Got a tinfoil hat on. So we must be taking information this way, right? You know, AI is also involved in taxes. Oh, yeah. Yeah, on the taxes. Yeah, this is a thing. About a year ago, excuse me, I don't have the Uranus is a planet mug or the God's Champion mug today. No tea for me because there's no AC upstairs. So I'm in a sauna right now, so I got my nice cold water that I'm drinking. And try not to sweat all over the microphone. The IRS has awarded, this last year, about $70 million contract to implement AI technologies. That's right. The IRS awarded a contract upward of around $70 million to Brilliant that would implement machine learning and artificial intelligence technologies to its analytics operations. This was reported by NextGov. The technology is called robotic process automation, which would utilize scalable automated technology into the agency's information management systems. The $70 million contract with Brilliant, people are saying is brilliant. Not really. They're not saying that. It's part of a $310 million, 223 budget allocated to the IRS. Debt ceiling and all of this stuff. Do you remember? You got to tell me in the live chat, everybody. Hello. I'm looking at you now. I'm looking at you. I want to know. Do you know about the army of the IRS agents, the 87,000? You hear about them? You hear about these guys they were going to hire? This was the thing about a month ago. I did like a video on this. I did a couple of videos on this. This was a big deal, right? I also told everybody, look, if you don't cheat, you do things the right way. A lot of cheats out there. A lot of people doing things wrong. You do things the right way. You go to sleep at night. You go to sleep at night on your head on your pillow. I recommend getting an accountant, somebody who knows, the code and all this stuff. I know that it stinks. It took me many years to actually pay somebody to do my taxes. Can't think of all the money that I lost. But, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? I warned people, by the way, of the tax plan. I said that it was going to, the big corporations and everybody else, they got huge cuts that are going to be endless. That's the Trumpster. He got that done for everybody. He also, did this, I guess, supposedly a nice little deal for all of us, supposedly. Problem is it expires. Yeah, that stinks, right? That stinks. So much for that. So much for everybody bragging. Remember, the Republicans at the House, they were going nuts over this. They were so upset. They were like, I can't believe Biden's doing this. We're not going to let this happen. There's no way we're going to let this happen. Are you kidding me? Really? 87,000? No, we're going to stomp this out. I did a couple of videos about this, right? right? Because I had that weird dream in 2020. And did it come true? It turns out it did. But if you look top right-hand corner, it says Beast Mode boils over. Yeah, and then next to it, you have Trump's official Space Force hat. I just kept that there because that was the next video. Let me just show you that Space Force hat for a second. Yeah, that looks just like the Baphomet. I don't know if you've seen that before. If you haven't, you're welcome. It's very interesting. Yeah, very interesting. Space Force. That's a thing. Yep, it's a thing. All the aliens, they just had a meeting, by the way. They just had a meeting. They had like a big press. It was a snoozer. I slept through the whole thing. They were explaining everything away. You know, they were explaining everything away. I don't recommend it. It wasn't good. I'm going to wait for the next psyop. How about you? Okay. So the Republicans a while ago, they were saying this is not cool. We're going to take care of this. And they screamed victory. They're like, oh, we did it. We showed those suckers. We showed them good. The beast mode president, he ain't getting his way. McCarthy, we're here for the people. We're not going to let we're not going to do that. Made a big deal out of it, all of it. They all made a big to-do. Well, guess what? They're staying. Yep, they're staying. They're staying. Think about that for a second. They're staying, okay? So the debt ceiling, the deal's cut, and $80 billion, $21 billion to the IRS, $80 billion, 87,000 new IRS agents stay. So they were bragging for nothing. They're all like, well, we're not going to let we stomped that out. And everybody probably still to this day thinks that they actually did something good, but they're still there. According to Forbes, you know, I mean, what's real, right, Carrie? Padigo, is that how I pronounce your name? I'm glad you just made it to the show. Thank you for the super chat, 1111, baby. 1111, baby. That's right on the shirt. From Revelation 11:11, God breathes life into the witnesses, and they stand after being dead. 3 days, 3 nights. Everything changes. This is prophecy, my friends. You're going to see. Because I'm going to say stuff on this show that's going to happen. You're going to see it, and you're going to believe it, and you're going to be wowed by it. Just may not be what you think. But it's pretty important nonetheless. So the new House Speaker, Kevin McCarthy, guess what? You know who he thanked when he got elected? When he took his position? And I said to everybody, the new era of McCarthyism was going to begin. And you find that strange? You know, the new era of McCarthyism, I said, was about to begin. You're going to start to hunt everybody down. You know, the Trumpster, he's a big fan of the old death penalty for anybody that has to do with drugs, drug dealing, this, that, and the other thing. Some people, like, they're like right on board with it. Redacted, very cool YouTube channel. They put out a poll today, and the poll was, do you think that you should get the old penalty of death for the youngsters, you know, like juveniles? And it was like, yes, no, that's sick, right? I wrote, that's sick. If we've come this far. Yeah, we've come this far. Nothing good comes from evil, right? So love draws a multitude to repentance. The irony is the people that are making these rules, they're like, oh, I love God. Oh, I love Jesus. Jesus and I'm the chosen one. That's what Trump. Everybody thinks I'm picking on Trump. I'm not picking on Trump. I just, he's an easy target. He's an easy target. And anybody that he has his eyes on as a target is going to pay, especially in the coming days. That's for sure. So, yeah, he's calling for all sorts of changes to things, except for when it comes to the tax code and the 87 IRS agents that are going to be really making sure everybody's paying their due and not, not slipping their kids any cash. You know, did you get that $20 for grandma? Did you put that down? With AI and 87,000 more army. Some people say that they can actually even be armed. Who here thinks the world has really jumped the shark and has gone way overboard, right? This is extra. Everything seems to be very extra. You know why? Because God's making a short work of things. Oh, yes. The rulers of the world, they think that they got it all under control. But everything's going according to plan. So what do I got to worry about? I'm not going to worry about nothing. I'm going to love. I'm going to forgive. I'm going to enjoy the ride. When the lights go out in Egypt, in the book of Exodus, When the lights go out, I got to talk about this because I just talked about the 3 days of darkness. Now here we are, 3 days, everything changes, as you're going to see. The lights stayed on in the Israelites' house. So all you Israelites out there, you're doing good. You're going to be okay. You're going to be okay, even if you got 87,000 new agents up your wazoo. Whatever a wazoo is. I don't know. It's all hocus pocus to me. You know, I even went so far. This is sometimes I take things a little far. I'll be the first to admit it. I took this a little too far. I started adding up numbers and subtracting numbers and trying to find the letter, Q in this whole thing. I don't know why. I guess I was bored. It was early morning the other day when I did this. But the vote was 314 to 117. And 314 minus 17 is 197. So, of course, you see my logic. I'm like, of course, 1 plus 9 plus 7 is 17. Because, of course, 17 plus 46 is 117. Then I went so far as to go like this. What is 117 in the Strongs? It's God's majesty. God's will is going to be done. No matter what happens, no matter who's in charge. Like I say, things happen. People fall, like President Biden fell just the other day. He just fell. Let me show you this. I actually, no one likes to see anybody fall, much less, it's okay when they fall and they get back up okay. I don't know if you saw this. Let me just, what really bothered me, though, is that when he fell, it seemed like everybody was cheering. Like we've come so far as as human beings that people enjoy this. So here he's walking on out. And look at that, I'm smiling as they're walking away. Let's take a look at the these brave men that are walking away. Let's see if they were smiling before this happened, or are they just excited? They were smiling away. Poor guy. He's okay though. He pointed to the sandbag and he said that's what happened. And they really should have done a better job. Made sure that he didn't fall. Nobody likes. I mean, he's the president. He could have broke a hip. And I'm not saying that because he's old. He's old. I mean, anybody could break a hip, right? I mean, I'm nursing my meniscus. I finally got my I got to sleep with it, but I got my brace off. Feeling a little better in my arm. Anybody can fall and break things, so it's not cool. But it is weird. It is weird that it happened at the same time that something else happened. You want to talk about somebody tripping up? Okay, well, let's first go into what he was tripping on. Okay, he tripped on a sandbag. Now, I had a couple of people reach out to me about this, about these old sandbags. Who knows what sandbagging is? Tell me in the live chat. Joni's asking, which Biden? Well, now we're talking about the Biden that we're biding our time with. We're talking about the president. This is we're biding our time with him. It's going to get interesting very shortly. It's going to get very interesting. So he falls at this Air Force Academy graduation ceremony, and he says, I got sandbagged. Now, I would just like to explain what sandbagging is. It's you go to the store, you buy something, the salesman makes it all sound great, and you walked away and you realize that you were just totally lied to. You got sandbagged. Or, you go to the pool hall with your buddies. You haven't been to the pool hall since college. And you're like, hey, let's go out. I don't do that because I don't got friends. Like the only friends that I really have, they always leave. Let's get back to the show. Okay, so Biden falls at the U.S. Air Force Academy graduation. He says, I got sandbagged. Sandbag is like when you go with the friends and then there are a couple of guys and they're like, hey, you want to play? You want to shoot? We'll play for some money. And you're watching them and they're not that great. And then you go over and they're playing and they're messing up in the first game. You win like $20 each. And next thing you know, they're like, why don't we do this? And then they're getting upset and they talk a little smack. And then they're like, why don't we just call it like $100 on this game and be done with it? And then you're like, oh, I just won $40. Why don't I just do that? Next thing you know, you're in for $100 and it's double or nothing. This is not something that's ever happened to me because I'm very good at pool. But that person got sandbagged. People looked like they performed poorly. Like, oh, I'm not good at this, but they're really good at this. They did this to gain an advantage over you. That's what sandbagging is. Let me just show you the definition. This is important. And you know, the irony is, as I'm working on this, and I even tweeted about this, I think, Pope, I'm your friend too. I know, I was joking. I have a lot of friends. Yeah, I mean, I get so many wonderful emails from so many of you. I feel like so many of you are my family. I was really just kind of making a joke. I just don't have friends, and I just not like in person. I don't really quite fit. I'm like I'm the oddball in the bunch. You know, we went to a party just last week where, you know, we have to glom on to the kids' parties because, of course, you know, the Ethan, he's a sixth grader, and his friend had a birthday party, and their parents are like the cool ones. They always throw the cool parties, the big ones. And, we get, Dan works out with her mom, so they're friendly, right? But they know that when I come, it's like, I'm going to talk about all sorts of weird things. Last year, I was talking about the absence of prayer. Nobody's praying. Nobody wants to hear that. They're just like, give me a White Claw. But, this year I was talking about simulation theory. What are you going to do? I don't like small talk. Sandbagging, the definition is to conceal or misrepresent a person's true position. Could you imagine? He's like misrepresenting that he's the president. He's really not. I'm just kidding. That's a joke. These are jokes, people. That was me being silly. I don't think he's sandbagging the presidency. I don't think he's sandbagging the country. In fact, let me show you this. You know, there is, Michael Scott on Twitter sent this to me too, and this is something that I was already into. So it's nice to see a couple of people thinking about these things. You're gonna like this, Michael, if you're watching though. What I added to this is the idea of the art of war. Lao Tzu is the philosopher, the Chinese, I believe Chinese philosopher. You could tell me in the live chat if that's true. And you pretend that you're weak in order to gain control of the enemy. This is an interesting thing. Grimes, Elon's baby mama's the partner, life partner. They were together for a long time. I think they're together. I don't know the ins and the outs. They have X and I believe Y together. Their children, which are just, I think, very cool names, because Elon the Hittite in the Bible, his daughter's name was Space Math, XY. Maybe I'm the only one that gets this joke. But at the beginning of her video that she did before The Virus of the Crown came out, I think it was called Violence. I'm not sure. Very talented artist doing stuff with AI right now. But in the video, she was like, they wore masks. And the video started with her reading The Art of War, which was interesting, because then later versions had it blurred out, and then later versions of that video got rid of it completely. So the video started that way, and then it was almost like she was simulating coughing and simulating gagging. They were all wearing masks, and it was just strange to see it. Especially she has that rock, too. I'll show that to you anyway. But my point is, back to sandbagging, is that Lao Tzu, you look weak when really you're strong. So there was on the Army website, they had this video. I think it's called Ghost in the Machine. And if you look at it, the Army Times magazine says, foreboding Army PSYOPs recruitment video, who's pulling the strings? Now, what's interesting about all this is Biden screaming out that he got sandbagged, which, maybe he did, maybe he didn't. Maybe he tripped on a sandbag. Maybe the whole thing's a show. I don't know. Maybe it wasn't even him. Some people say it's Jim Carrey. I don't know. I don't know why that is. Maybe because he did some stuff on Saturday Night Live. But let's pull this up so you can just at least take a look at this video. And it's spooky, too. I'll play a little bit of the music. Pretend to be weak, that he may grow arrogant, right? And this whole video goes on with this cool, foreboding music. Spooky, right? Just feels weird. Have you ever wondered?
In China comes to a violent and bloody end. Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this.
Who's pulling the strings? Have you ever wondered that? born from the ashes of a world at war. You'll find us in the shadows, at the tip of the spear. A threat rises in the east. Hey, by the way, did anybody see that? We saw that. Take a look at this. Look at that. There's a different kind of warfare now. It's evolving. We are going to win the war by tripping over sandbags. I don't know if any of you saw this, but I will tell you, it gave me an eerie feeling. It made me feel pretty yucky. I didn't feel too good when I watched that video because I felt like, my goodness gracious, is it true? You know, is this all a big show? I mean, you think about it, right? Heads of these big companies. You know Bud Light, right? The CEO. He worked for the CIA. I'm almost positive. You got to tell me once again in the live chat or in the comment section. I'm almost positive. Worked for the CIA. That's quite coincidental, don't you think? What's real? What can we trust? Especially with AI running around. I'll tell you what we do trust, sadly, is corrupt leaders. No matter where we turn, it just seems like there's this suspicion that surrounds them. What about Trudeau? Did you hear about what happened to him? Oh, listen to this. Hang on. We got to play this. Let's just take a listen. I didn't even know this. I had to look this up. Turns out he had a little problem. He was a teacher. And I guess he got involved with somebody he shouldn't have got involved with. And the mystery is perhaps it could be a child, but I don't know. So let's take a listen.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, I was a high school teacher before getting into politics, and I'm having a little trouble remembering what exactly the job that the Leader of the Opposition had before getting into politics.
Yes, and he left right in the middle of the semester, and I'm having trouble remembering why.
Oh!
That's what they would call like a burn, right? Wouldn't they call that like a burn? Very. So, can you tell me why and how does somebody who may have had inappropriate relationships, you know, the story is it could have been like the young girl, could have been the young girl's mother, but it was like the daughter or something very, very influential. How does he get to be prime minister? You know why? This is what I said. Because corrupted people are easy to control. If you're a corrupted person, you're easy to corrupt. So how can we trust people like this? I don't know. That's why I leave it up to you to go do your digging, to really look into the candidates that you think you're choosing. Why are we only offered a few? I'm sure there's a lot of really good people out there. You know what? I wouldn't want to do these things. I wouldn't want to be in these positions. The magnitude of such a thing would be too much for me. But I pray God will place the right person in office when the right person is going to be in office. And now you know who I think it's going to be. You got these systems and scriptures in the book of Revelation. There's this thing called the Whore of Babylon, right? It's kind of like just a not such a great thing. And then the beast of Revelation turns against the whore. It's like this battle that goes on. Both factions aren't great. Both factions aren't great. And in the end, what ends up happening? Well, God comes to terms. Speaking of the Trumpster, he just said, him and the DeSantis are going at it a lot. They're having some big issues with each other and tearing each other down, And so, Trump says that even Cuomo did a better job than DeSantis. Even Cuomo. even Cuomo, who, by the way, I had to remind people, not the best guy, right? He forced patients that were sick. I don't want to use the word forced, but, kind of like if you want to get your funding, you're going to need to take these people into nursing homes. And then the deaths got so bad. That he like fudged the numbers. Let me just move this all show to you. I'm not making up stories. This wasn't as good. So basically, a lot of people died, and the aides rewrote nursing homes, the report to hide a higher death toll. So, his response was, they died there, they died here, what does it matter? They died. That was the thing. Well, maybe they wouldn't have gotten COVID if COVID patients weren't placed there. I mean, I don't know. I'm thinking we were supposed to be protecting the most vulnerable. You were making grandma and grandpa and great-grandma and great-grandpa, God willing, if they're still around, you were making them hug people through plastic. You weren't allowing them to be seen when they were sick. These are good people. Cuomo did a good job. I don't know. I'll tell you one thing. I wasn't too happy with him because my daughter, who ended up, Ethan, by the way, all honors going into junior high. Such a hard worker. Shiloh, all honors, advanced placement, all of her class. Same thing with Anthony. Noah, he was a good student. He was like me. He was a good student. Not all honors. We did our best. We, as they came into the world, and I became, I guess, a better parent. I don't know. Everybody's got their gifting. I'm not good with taking tests, but Shiloh, all AP classes, worked her butt off, straight A's, ridiculous GPA, got scholarships up the wazoo. Everything's going up the wazoo today. And guess what happened? The school of her dreams accepted her, gave her a $20,000 scholarship. She wanted to go to Binghamton. I don't know why. Since she was a little girl, she wanted to go to Binghamton. Got into Binghamton and got into like some super secret, like really cool program where they chose her out of applicants in different schools, and she was going to represent Binghamton, the whole thing. And guess what? She had to get the cock-a-doodle-doo, or she couldn't go. Yeah. So I was upset. She decided, I want to just do, guess what she did? She did the old community college. She's in all honors there, straight A's there, and guess what? She's not in debt. So who wins in the end? Because she's going to end up in a great school anyway, just like Anthony did. He went to, I'm not going to tell you the schools that they go to. We don't need any of that weird stuff going on the internet. But I was so upset that I put out a tweet, and I said, let's see if this tweet ages well. If Cuomo is corrupt, may the Lord take him from his position, basically is what I said. And then it was like a week later, he was resigning. Proof. I don't want to mess. I'll bless those that bless the Israelites. I'll curse those that curse the Israelites. If you do good in God's eyes, you're going to be okay. If you do bad, you know what's going to happen? It's going to be shouted from the rooftops. You know who's being shouted from the rooftops? You know who. You know who. That's right. Sad. You feel bad. Feel bad to think that, somebody's just darkness, nobody's perfect, but I knew that this laptop was going to be a thing many years ago. I don't know why. I had that weird dream about the laptops. Well, he got like 10,000 pictures from his laptop being released to the public. Now, there's like a million things that I could say about this because now the stuff with the Bidens and their family and their business dealings and everything else, they're, not even questionable at best, kind of spooky. The thing is, it's going to come out. It's going to come out. And you know what's really funny? On YouTube here, let me tell you this, because this is something good. As I put on a new song. Yeah, called New Hero in Town. There's a new hero in town. Is that you? Are you God's champion? If not, get yourself a t-shirt so you can be reminded that God has a plan for you. It's not on your shoulders. Bigger shoulders than you carry you, my friend. A trove of these images released to the public. Not a great thing, because you know that we are judged by our children. And here is a person who's had all of, this guy's in charge of many boards and many things, in charge of things that he knows nothing about, supposedly. And he's got like no teeth from all the drug use. And there's so many horrible pictures going around, can't even get into it. We're going to leave it up to God. We're going to let God sort it out. But we're biding our time. We're biding our time, and that time is here. This was one of the videos that I did all that long time ago, and it was something that I really, really felt like this is going to happen. I just don't know when. And it seems to be happening now. If you look on the very bottom, you'll see the name of the video is Nebuchadnezzar's End Time Dream Fulfilled. Trump is a very great picture of Nebuchadnezzar. He's also a great picture of Cyrus. Look to him if he is president again, which I have a feeling he's going to be like probably the last president. I just have this feeling. If it's not for the good of people, they'll change it. We'll see what God has planned. But back then, that was January, 16th, 2021. I had the old Biden holding that laptop from the dream I had. I think this was like before even the info got out there. It was just I had this dream. I thought somehow there was a connection to it. And then once, there was even rumors of this stuff with Biden's son's computer left at the shop. I was like, that's got to be it. Pretty much everything that I had in that dream, all that weird stuff going down, very strange. So their servers couldn't even handle it. Joni is saying in the live chat that they just released it. Yeah, I think that I think the whole thing, the whole server was like smashed. So many people went to see. Everyone is so curious of people's private personal health. So a lot of people, like Ron DeSantis was saying one of his quotes, which I think many people would agree with. I don't understand how he's walking around, when you have video evidence of him committing many felonies. I guess I don't know if it's felony. Whole thing with the old crack and other things. He had some issue with a gun too, and everything else. I think you got to look all this stuff up. I'm not ChatGPT. Not that can be trusted. But Ron DeSantis says Hunter Biden would have been in jail years ago if he were a Republican. Yeah. I mean, can you disagree? I don't know. I wish I had like a logo or something on this for all of you to look at. It's like an old one of my children's mugs. Biden our time. Sandbagged. Are we being sandbagged? We've been sandbagged, people. Okay? We've been sandbagged. The creator of Sophia, speaking of AI, this guy, very interesting dude. Very interesting dude. You could tell that he is just really deep into this stuff. He's like the perfect picture of what you would think a super genius who's creating just super powered, intelligent AGI that he looks just like him. He looks exactly with his cow hat on. Come on. Well, this guy says that everybody's going to need world basic income. He says over the next couple of years, like the next 5 years, it's going to get not so good. Everybody's going to be losing jobs. And because artificial intelligence is going to do better. So he was promoting Andrew Yang and saying that that's what's going to happen. And I think to myself, I don't think that the people in charge like giving people handouts. So I'm thinking maybe we're due for a solar flare or something. I don't know. I do know that I feel like my back's against the wall sometimes. I feel like I feel a little bit like Abraham sometimes talking with God. Like, can you just spare them? Because my nephew lives right on the border. I'm like on Long Island. New York City's not that. Would you mind just I will spare them if you could find 50 righteous people. I'm like, well, what if there's like 20? Would you spare it for 20? And I'm thinking New York City, right? Are there 20? What about 10, Lord? Will you give me 10? How about 5? And then Abraham at some point just stops asking. I keep asking. I want to see things change. I want to see corrupt people being brought to... I want to see whatever the super plan is, whether it's some super intelligent, AI or some demon that they've unleashed from the pits of hell when they opened up the bottomless pit. I want to see good thrive. I want to see the kingdom of God brought to the earth. I want to see people happy, righteous, peace, and joy. I want to see it. And I feel it's coming. I do. In the midst of the storm. I do feel it. I actually wrote this poem. Let me see if I can pull this up on Twitter. I didn't expect to do this. Let me just go to Twitter here. And let me see if I can pull this up. I just wrote this poem. Oh, by the way, hey, you guys, can you do me all a favor? Guys, gals, whoever y'all are. I was going to share this as a YouTube short. I thought this was really important considering with the old spy balloon thing. And I'm thinking of doing more YouTube shorts, but I'm thinking of just sharing my unique humor, which I only laugh at. The consensus at my dinner table today was that this was not something I should share on YouTube. But you tell me. So, can't believe I caught one of them on tape. Obviously not tapes, my phone. Hashtag spy balloon. What's going on? I was at the beach. I was just my own business, waiting for today's show, working on some marketing, and this. Is that one of them? They're spy balloons. Disguised as a shark. That's some serious stuff right there, people. What do you think? Tell me in the live chat. I mean, probably you don't get that, but because of all the balloons, and they were going to blow it up, right? I did, it was funny. I saw it where I was sitting. I thought, what is that in the water? And I went to it. By the time I got there, it already reached the shore, and I felt kind of silly. Life is more exciting when you're silly. So I wrote this. Oh, search my depths, O Lord. Show me the way to live secure. Search me, O Lord. Help me to remain pure, to not follow the world's ways, but to fearlessly follow yours. The wolves, the bear, the kraken, and the dragon are all at the door. Search me, Lord, and find the strength I need to endure. And why do I say kraken and everything else? Because the wolves, the kraken, the dragon, they're all there. They're all here. Let me pull this up. This is something else, huh? This is something else. DreamWorks is going to battle with Little Mermaid. Little Mermaid, you know that there's a lot of spooky stuff about Little Mermaid. People are saying that it's creating like a ratings system, conundrum where everybody's like, we need to change things. The clip that was going around, a famous clip where Ariel is on the bed and the the seagulls going bow, chicka bow, bow, chicka bow, bow, which we all know is like the famous sting, probably not good for children. And, it's a little much. It's a little much. I think it's time for us to go back to a simpler time. I don't think that we need to be sexualizing, everything anymore. I think it needs to change. And I feel like change is coming, but I just feel like it's going to be a heavy-handed change. No lie. So, at the same time, you got the mermaid out there. You got the kraken. Teenage kraken. The little kraken's grown up and is going into the world. Now, do you remember before December 14th, which, by the way, December 14th was that was the day when the first one, the wackadoodle-doo, was given out in the old US of A. On the night of an eclipse, on December 14th, which just happened to be smack dab in the middle of the two great American eclipses, one from 2017 and one from 2024. And in between those 2 days, let me just blow this up so that you can get a bigger picture of what I'm talking about here. In between these 2 days was exactly 1,211 days, which I understood to be the beginning of what we would call in Scripture Jacob's time of trouble. It's a 3.5-year period where things get really, really crappy. That was before all the dates of man, by the way. That was the first day. Now, if you remember, before that video, now this video came out the December 14th, Jacob's time of trouble, the tribulation is now. This came out before the very first one was given out. I did this video long before it. You can go watch it. But at the same time that this was happening, if you remember correctly, Trump's attorney Powell, Sidney Powell, was going around screaming, "Release the Kraken." Do you remember that, Rose Peck? Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate that. Do you remember that? Release the Kraken. Remember everybody was screaming, "Release the Kraken"? And I did this video. This was once again before that eclipse, before the first one was given out. And I told everybody, the Kraken is basically Satan's judgment in the world. Not the best thing to be released. You shouldn't be asking for that. I also felt like it was some kind of a judgment on man. A water creature, if you will. A sea monster that was going to, just destroy humanity, if you will, from a metaphysical and a spiritual point of view. Now, that all being said, all of these things work together for the good. You have many creatures that are mentioned in Scripture, like the behemoth, Jonah's great fish, which wasn't a whale, by the way, it was a fish, because Jesus said, "I'll make you fishers of men," and it's a picture of man's carnality. The closest thing to that being a legit story would be if it was a baskin shark. Baskin sharks are like these huge sharks which could literally swallow a man, keep a man alive, and then bring him to shore. Could happen, I guess, if it was a big one. Why do I say all this? Well, because this would be the time, right? So we were what? We were locked down for like 3 months or whatever it was. This period of time, we were in the heart of the earth, the home, because home is where the heart is. And now Little Mermaid's Jonah, the person who plays it, the character's name in the movie is Prince Erick, but the actor's name is Jonah. Now, I found this out because I thought to myself as I'm doing the show, because of the 3 days and the 3 nights, and I say, this is the moment. This is when the repentance is screamed from the rooftops. This is when Jonah stands tall and people make up their mind. And Nineveh is saved. Hurrah! Wouldn't that be great? We don't have anything, we don't have to worry about the all that ammonium nitrate or whatever it was. That was like 60,000 pounds of it or something ridiculous that was stolen. We don't know where it is. Same thing that happened when that port was blown up. Very apocalyptic, a very biblical event. Now people are worried about this, and I'm saying stop it. You can pray, Lord, what if there's just me? What if I turn my life around? Will you stop it for that? Take it a step further. And take it a step further than Abraham did. Not that I'm greater than Abraham. God forbid. God forbid. But I'm here, and you got me. You got Jacob. So, what are you going to do? So Jonah in the news. Not to mention 3 days, 3 nights. Guess what? Here's the thing. Because that scripture goes, this is a goose bumper. This is a goose bumper. I want you all to pay attention now. I want you all, the BW is saying, I'm cracking up here. I'm cracking up. That's good. It's cracking up. Yeah. Me too. Sometimes I crack up. Sometimes I cry. Okay, so here's the thing. This is goosebump time. I don't want you to get too stressed out about this because it is, it's a little freaky, but it's exciting. So, 3 days, 3 nights in death. Death. After 3 days, the work of Christ begins again. Jonah. 3 days, 3 nights. The belly of the beast, the great fish, vomited onto shore. I don't want to turn my life around, Lord. Tough. Got 87 new agents coming for you. You better do things right. Guess who's coming back to work after 3 days of death? Meta workers. That's right. Meta, today's news. This just broke. I mean, at least broke for me. I don't know. Maybe it was news elsewhere. Meta is requiring staff to be in the office at least 3 days a week. This struck me as funny because meta, of course, in Hebrew means dead. You need 3 days if you're working in death. Spooky. You know who else is spooky? I don't want to say he's spooky. He's a little spooky. Powerful guy. Likeable guy, affable guy. We're all pulling for him, right? We're all praying for him, whether he asks for it or not. Even if he doesn't want it, we're going to pray for him anyway. You know why? Because he's now, once again, by the way, the wealthiest man in the world today. Elon, topping the ranks again. The guy's doing something right? What is it? Is it time travel? Is that what it is? Is he a Martian? Is that what it is? Or is he just a really smart guy? Really super genius guy? You tell me in the comments section. I got my suspicions. But I think like everybody else, he's only there because the good Lord wants him there. Whether he believes it or not, whether he knows it or not. Because all things work together for the good of those that love the Lord. Things are going good for me. I'm not the wealthiest person in the world. I got a beautiful family. I got food. Thank God right now, at least for the time being. I got just enough to pay my bills. Thank God for the time being. Things change. They change. I will be better off than those that have no faith. My whole life, let this be an example to you. I've never failed. Not because I'm so great, because I am not. It's because I have faith and because I know God is in charge. He promised me this. So he just got back from his trip from China. And he was off the internet for a little while. He was off Twitter, and they really honored him like an emperor. They did. They put together a menu that was it looked delicious. I got to tell you something. It's not May Garden. Not May Garden. My family of friends. May Garden, right next to my old the place where I used to work, where I used to sling mattresses and help everybody get a better night's sleep. Their food is amazing. Beautiful family. Watch their children grow up. They all love me. They love delivering to the house. They give me so much food for not much, because when the old virus of the crown hit and everything else, I loved them, and I didn't know what to do. But I was nervous at first, like everybody else. I got duped. I was like, I'm not going to eat any more of this. So I just gave them $100. I'm like, I don't know. That'll be 10 weeks, because they always gave me such a good break. And thank God their business is thriving. I don't know why I'm telling you all this, but it's not May Garden. But I'll tell you, the menu looks cool. Those 2 horses. And he said that the United States and China are like conjoined twins. There's a lot of symbolism with that word twin. Like Jacob and Esau are twins. The China, of course, is very symbolic of the dragon, the red dragon. And, of course, we know that Elon is very symbolic of dragon because of his dragon mission and everything else. And he's the wealthiest man in the world and visiting quite arguably one of the most powerful nations in the world, and met with one of their high premiers. And doing important stuff, looking all cool, getting into his AI driven car with, probably armored car, looking all smooth. And then he came back to Twitter and, what is a woman? That's the way we do it. That's the way Elon rolls. June 1st was my favorite month because, of course, my birthday's in this month. His birthday, too. I think we're both the same age. Happy birthday if you're watching. And if you are, you could give a shout out. You can give a shout out. It's okay. A lot of people watch Jacob's Ladder, don't say nothing. A bunch of Nicodemuses at night visiting. Come, Nick at nights. You coming around, stalking. Yeah. It would be helpful, though. You could shout me out. So listen, he, at first, this whole thing with this whole other, I think it's another one of those operations where it was supposedly rejected at first. This is, of course, that documentary that everybody's up in arms over with this great operation that's been put on all of us to get everybody so riled up and so crazy nobody knows who they are or who to respect or who to love or who to forgive. What's okay, what's not. Nobody knows. Because the dragon, what happened? Dragon opens his mouth with a flood. And that flood, if the dragon is symbolic of Satan, and I'm not saying Elon's Satan or the Antichrist or anything else, you all know that the Antichrist is in every single one of our heads in the temple of God. It's every negative voice. Satan tempts us. Same way he tempted Christ. Same way. Feeds us things, Don't share that video around your family. He'll make fun of you, Oh, he asked for the like button. I'm not going to like it just for that, even though I've been watching him for years. And he brought me back from the brink. It's never me, by the way. It's never me. I get a lot of emails, people saying, you did this, you did. It's never me. This is me just sharing my faith and my passion. It's always God. It's always God. Come to the well, but take Christ with you. So he came back from his awe-inspiring visit. And, now he went from everybody was calling him, saying, oh, say it ain't so, that he's blocking this thing. And then he said, oh, I won't block it. It was a mistake. And then, one of the people that was in charge of trust and safety, then they stepped down and it was all this drama. So much drama. It's like people thrive on it. It's too much. It's too much with this, This is the next one. So, of course, he's a smart guy. He tells everybody, he's like, oh, he almost was like, you're welcome for the free advertisement. He said this will be like the Barbra Streisand effect, something that's kind of blocked. But because it's blocked, it's going to become more successful. He even pointed that out. He said this controversy will drive viewership. While Jeremy Boring and everybody's crying, oh, it's just so terrible, these millionaires. It's just so terrible. Guess what? If I type in, what is a woman in Google? Let me do it. All right? Crying the blues. Let's go over here. Let me just display. Let me make sure that I'm over. I transfer over. Not that. Let's just see. Let's see how, because I really, it's not fair. The media is not fair to Ben Shapiro and this group. Let's see. If we type in, what is a woman? Let's just leave it at, oh, well, hang on a second. What's that? Just the first thing that comes up. All right. Oh, look at this. Oh, look at all of this advertising. Oh, they really are against you guys. I'll tell you. Oh, you got it. You guys got it bad. You got it so bad. It's terrible. It's terrible. I'd be so upset too. Look, you got your own Wikipedia page. All this stuff. Here's the cast. Look at this. I don't see anybody hiding you from nothing. Now, let me just type in me. Just Jacob Israel. Let's see if you can find me on Google. Oh, look at that. Jacob's a prophet. Well, they're not talking about me. Let's see. Oh, Jacob Israel's actually on. I'm on TikTok, but that's not me. That's not me. Yep. Not me. Not me. Not me. Not me. Not me. Not me. Still not me. Still not me. And hopefully at some point you'll be able to find me. You know, like if you're just typing in, oh, there, well, there's my, I bet you it's like my old book too. It's probably. Yeah, they do a good job of hiding it. Now, here's the funny thing, right? If I just go over here and I type in, say, yahoo.com. Now, watch how I'm treated a little bit differently over here. Look at this. There I am. Uh-oh. Oh, and there's my website. Let's try just bing.com. Let's just try that. Let's see if Bing gives me anything. I don't think it's very fair. You know, I've been kind of held back for a long time. You know, I upload videos and then I see, oh, people are, you know, they're loving it, and then, well, this is news, so let's just do anytime. Let's see. Yep, there I am, right? But not on Google. Nope. And why is that? Hey, you know what? Let me show you something else. You go to Facebook if you have Facebook. Just type in jacobisrael.com on Facebook. It's my website, and it just has biblical essays, and it has poetry, and it has encouraging words. Nothing harmful, you know. I got even stuff on there that really would unite people. Beautiful stuff, not hate. Not going around asking people to define things and then crying, oh, it's so terrible. Oh, look at me. I'm making millions of dollars. I don't know. You all think that they're doing good work. Maybe they're doing good work. Maybe it's an important documentary. Probably is. I think it probably is. Seems like it's being promoted quite a bit. I think that we do need to go back to more traditional values. And I believe that that's going to come. I do believe it's going to come. But I do believe also that hateful people will continue to rise to the top, sadly, as long as there is a hateful world. You know, they didn't like Jesus around much. You know, even the people that said they claim God, they didn't like Jesus very much at all. But that's okay, because the day is coming when things are going to change. I do believe that. I do believe that with all my heart. He's spooked out about the old AI too, you know. Put this little thing, he's maybe not spooked out about it, but tell me what's wrong, and then he realizes how close this is. By the way, that little swirl there, some people were saying that it was like a really dark symbol. The single spiral represents the way to the higher level of consciousness. I do believe that this was a meme for Neuralink. Hashtag give me your brain. That's the day we're in, people. That's the day we're in. But Jonah's in the news. And you know what else is in the news? The sign of Jonah, as they say. Take a look at this. This is crazy. Who heard about the, look at this basking shark. Bumps into a kayaker. Could you imagine? These things are huge. These things are huge. That's what a basking shark looks like. This was just a couple of days ago. Look at this thing. Look at its how wide mouth. Could you imagine? That's probably a baby, too. Scary. Scary. Sign of Jonah everywhere you look. Everywhere you look. So I think to myself, maybe I should read. Maybe I should just read the sign of Jonah, all you. Get you all excited before we get out of here for today. I want to thank you all for coming. I hope that you can share the video around, because a wicked and adulterous generation asks for a sign, right? So like if you're going to ask for a sign, you're like, prove to me God exists. You're a wicked person. Some people would come to me and they'll say, Jacob, we want a sign from you. How do I know you're telling the truth? That's not what it says. But this is what they did to Jesus. Give us a sign. He said, look, a wicked and adulterous generation seeks a sign. But alas, none will be given except the sign of the prophet Jonah. Jonah, which, by the way, means messenger of peace. Messenger of peace. You got to remember, the dove, the Holy Spirit, was what descended on Christ after his baptism. This is all important stuff because it's all very symbolic. Jonah literally is, the name means that dove in a roundabout way. It literally means dove. So think about that. It's basically a picture of the Holy Spirit in man. Nothing will be given but the prophet Jonah. So Jonah was 3 days and 3 nights in the belly of Medina, death, the great fish. So the Son of Man will be 3 days and 3 nights in the heart of the earth. That end time prophecy, you could say, has happened because it's not really days or nights. It's just a period of time. And we've had 3 months in the heart of the earth in our homes. The men of Nineveh, which, by the way, Nineveh means, I don't think a lot of people know this, Nineveh means the abode of Ninus. Ninus was Baal's child. You know Baal, you've heard Baal. They took the old Arch of Baal, paraded it around. See Baal everywhere, right? Everybody's crazy about the Baal. It would be the children of Baal. This was the place where there was nothing but people that were worshiping Baal. Elijah had this problem in his day. He was a witness back then. You know, he cried out. He's like, oh, I don't know anybody on YouTube like me. Everywhere I look, all these people, they sound a little bit like me, but they, they're just, seems like so many people so corrupt. Got temples to Baal everywhere. You got idols of Baal everywhere. I got churches everywhere, Lord. Where, but, and they won't even let me on Google. They won't even tell people about me. That's why I can't even ask for help anymore, because if I do, people get upset. But if you can share it, it'll be helpful. So share it around, will you? The men of Nineveh, here's the thing. So the men of Nineveh, Jonah ends up coming and, he saves the day. They repent. Jonah complains about it. It's a whole thing. But it's something that is also happening today. Something that's literally happening today. This is the day. This is the end time. This is that moment. There is a belief, just so you know, I want to put this in perspective. There's a belief that everybody here right now has already been here, that this is the final judgment, and this is, where God separates the wheat from the tares, that everybody is brought back onto the earth at this moment in time. That's why the population is so high. Scriptures seem to add to this idea when they say things like, when Jesus is talking about the end, and he's saying that you're not going to get a sign but that of the prophet Jonah, which was Jonah got vomited out of a great fish. He was presented onto the land to those that worship Baal, children of Baal, people that were just wicked, and they repented. The truth of God was shouted in the world, and people repented, and Nineveh was saved. The men of Nineveh, Jesus says, will stand up at the judgment with this generation and condemn it. He's talking about the people that are around him at that moment in time. He's saying the men of Nineveh are going to stand with you right now, and they're going to condemn it. He's also saying they're going to stand with us, and they're going to condemn this place that we're in right now, the world that we're in right now. They're going to take a look at our grocery stores and our clothing stores and our drinks and whatever else, and they're going to have a problem with it. They're going to have a problem with the hate. They're going to have a problem with the nonsense. Because when they were given the chance to repent, when Jonah told them, hey, do the right thing, love people, forgive, be kind, pray to God, they did. And now a greater than Jonah is here. He says the queen of the south is going to rise up at the judgment. This was the one that wanted, she was the one that wanted to, she heard of Solomon's wisdom. Maybe didn't worship the same God or anything else, but came and met with Solomon. She's going to rise up with this generation, not just her. And now something, he says, something, doesn't say someone, something greater than Solomon is here. Then Jesus goes on to explain when an impure spirit, my words are spirit and they are truth. So an impure spirit is an impure thought that we believe it's a demonic possession, if you will. When it comes out of a person and it goes through dry places seeking rest, it doesn't find it, then it says, I'll return to the house I left. When it arrives, it finds the house unoccupied, swept clean, and put in order. Then it goes and it takes 7 other spirits more wicked than itself. They go in and they live there. And the final condition of that person is worse than the first. This is how it will be with this wicked generation. Jesus is saying, you're all going to be so possessed by so many lies, so many impure thoughts. It's going to be terrible. Terrible, I tell you. Not a good thing. Now, when Jesus was talking to the crowd with his mother, they said his mother and his brothers, they were outside. They wanted to speak to him. Someone said, your mother and your brother are standing outside. They want to speak to you. He replied, who is my mother and who is my brother? Pointing to his disciples, he said, here is my mother, here are my brothers. For whoever does the will of my Father in heaven is my brother and sister and mother. The point is, in this end time, it's not going to be pretty. It's not going to be the way you've been told in church and where it's going to come down and it's going to be like something out of the movies. It's going to be, people are going to be ugly. But those of you who trust in God are the same as those who give birth to Christ and are related to Christ. You see me? See what I'm saying? You're the body of Christ. You're going to take on the mind of Christ. You're given the name of Christ. This is called the resurrection of the dead. To be carnally minded is death. The day that we're in is a day where we're going to cast off these impure thoughts and we're not going to leave that house unoccupied. We're not going to. This is the day we're in, people. This is the day we're in. And it's a day to be excited, not a day to be stressed out. All right. Well, listen. I'm so happy you all came. I hope that this helped you out a little bit. This is a copy of my my novel, The Calling. Sometimes I like to just flip through to see what I stop at. Every chapter starts with a poem. And let's just read it. Is there anything we can imagine that cannot come to pass? Is there anyone too far gone that love cannot bring back? Is there any height we cannot climb, any depth we cannot descend? Can we not live a full life or choose to put it to an end? Whatever therefore we think, we find and become. What we believe can either defeat us or help us to overcome. So remember, my friends, the power of life and death is in your mind and in your tongue. So speak life. These are the keys of the kingdom Jesus gave to us. I give you these keys. You want to rule and reign with Christ, he says? Whatever's bound in heaven is going to be bound on earth. Whatever's loosed in heaven is going to be loosed in earth. Whatever I say from here and speak out to here and believe with faith becomes. Whatever I think can't happen here and speak here won't happen. Let's speak life. Let's do better. Let's not get too stressed out. And let's have the best day ever. I love each and every one of you. Thank you so much. You can always get the merch in the descriptions of the video. Tell your friends about the channel. Do what you got to do. Don't forget to leave a like on the way out. Or I should just say, thank you all for leaving a like. A lot of you did. Like almost all of you did. That means so much. Thank you for the super chats. If I missed you, I'm sorry. KC, thank you. I'm loving that you're loving the content too. I love each and every one of you. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.